Africa is planning something the world never expected, a coordinated $100 billion mega-development blueprint set to transform the continent by the year 2030. A plan so ambitious, so bold, and so far-reaching that it is already reshaping global economic forecasts from the IMF, World Bank, African Development Bank, and OECD. Today, we dive inside the blueprint that could redefine Africa's infrastructure, energy, technology, trade, and geopolitical influence. A plan many experts say could turn Africa into the world's fastest-growing economic region within a single decade. For decades, Africa has been labeled the continent of potential. But today, African nations are no longer waiting for the world to unlock that potential. According to the African Union Agenda 2063, Africa is entering its most coordinated phase of continental planning since independence. But behind the long-term vision lies a shorter, more urgent blueprint, a combined investment surge approaching $100 billion by 2030 across energy, transport, digital technology, agriculture, and regional trade. This plan is powered by 4 pillars: energy sovereignty, building the largest renewable energy expansion in the global south; Pan-African infrastructure, connecting 1.4 billion people through rail, ports, and digital networks; industrialization and manufacturing, ending the export of raw materials and bringing value-add production home; regional integration, using AfCFTA, the world's largest free trade zone, to create a single African market. According to the AfDB's 2024 outlook, Africa's combined economy could reach $4.2 trillion by 2030 if infrastructure gaps are reduced. For the first time, that possibility feels within reach. Africa currently holds 60% of the world's best solar resources, yet accounts for only 2% of global solar energy production. This imbalance is driving the first phase of the mega plan, the Grand Inga Revival, $14 billion in the Democratic Republic of Congo. Plans are being revived for the Grand Inga Hydropower Complex, a project that could produce 40,000 megawatts, enough to power nearly half the continent. The African Union calls Inga Africa's single most transformative infrastructure asset. Namibia and Mauritania's green hydrogen corridor, $30+ billion. Namibia's $10 billion project and Mauritania's $40 billion Amen project, backed by Germany, the EU, and global energy firms, aim to make Africa a world leader in green hydrogen, the fuel of the future. Kenya, Ethiopia, and Tanzania's geothermal expansion, $5 billion. The East African Rift is now the world's fastest-growing geothermal zone, with Kenya already producing reliable power from beneath the earth. North African Solar Belt, $20 billion. Morocco and Egypt are building some of the world's largest solar and wind farms, exporting green electricity to Europe. According to the International Energy Agency, Africa could supply 10% of the world's green hydrogen by 2040, and this megaplan is the first step. Africa's biggest economic challenge is not talent, resources, or innovation. It is infrastructure, the lack of roads, railways, ports, and logistics networks connecting its economies. The megaplan targets this head-on. The Trans-African Rail Vision, $30 billion stretching across 10,000 kilometers. New and upgraded rail lines aim to connect Dakar to Lagos Mombasa, to Kinshasa Durban, to Cairo East Africa Standard Gauge Railway, West Africa's Lagos Abidjan Corridor, and Southern Africa's North-South Rail, all part of the puzzle. The African Ports Upgrade, $10 billion from Tanzania's Bagamoyo Port to Nigeria's Lekki Deep Sea Port. Africa is building world-class trade gateways, rivaling Singapore and Shanghai. The Pan-African Digital Highway, $3 billion. New undersea fiber cables from Kenya, South Africa, Senegal, and Egypt are creating one of the world's fastest-growing digital networks. According to the World Bank, improving Africa's infrastructure could increase regional trade by 131% and lift millions out of poverty. For 60 years, Africa exported raw materials and imported finished goods, a cycle that drained wealth and slowed industrialization. But that cycle is rapidly changing. The $100 billion plan targets lithium refining in Zimbabwe and DRC, EV battery manufacturing in South Africa, steel and cement plants in Nigeria and Ethiopia, pharmaceutical production hubs in Senegal, Rwanda, Kenya, and Egypt, agro-processing megaparks across Ghana, Tanzania, and Côte d'Ivoire, according to the UN Economic Commission for Africa. Value-added industrialization could raise Africa's GDP by up to $1 trillion by 2035. The African Continental Free Trade Area is the world's largest free trade zone by population, 1.4 billion people, a $3.4 trillion market. When fully implemented, the AFCFTA could boost intra-African trade by 52%, create 18 million new jobs, increase Africa's income by $450 billion, World Bank estimate. This is the backbone of the mega plan. An Africa that produces what it consumes and exports to the world. Africa is urbanizing faster than any region on Earth. By 2030, 50% of Africans will live in cities. The middle class will reach 170 million. Africa's consumer market will exceed $0.5 trillion. New mega-city projects include Rwanda's Kigali Innovation City, Kenya's Tatu City, Egypt's new administrative capital, Nigeria's Echo Atlantic, Senegal's Diamniadio Smart City. The continent is also building its tourism reputation. Cape Verde, renewable-powered eco-tourism, Tanzania and Kenya, upgraded wildlife corridors, Rwanda, luxury conservation tourism, Egypt and Morocco. Global cultural hubs. Tourism alone could generate over $300 billion annually by 2030 if infrastructure and security improve. Africa's $100 billion mega plan is bold, but not without obstacles. Key barriers include political instability in parts of West and Central Africa, high borrowing costs, global interest rate pressure, infrastructure financing gaps, climate vulnerability, skills shortages in energy, engineering, and ICT. The African Development Bank estimates Africa still needs $68 to $108 billion per year in additional infrastructure funding. But the plan is designed to make Africa less dependent on foreign aid and more self-reliant. Africa's rise comes at a time when global powers are struggling. The EU faces demographic decline, China's economy is slowing, the US is facing political polarization, Asia is battling supply chain risks, the world is seeking new energy sources. Africa, meanwhile, is entering a demographic boom, the youngest population on Earth, and is set to become the world's largest workforce by 2040. This makes the $100 billion mega plan not just an African story, but a global economic recalibration. So, what will Africa look like in 2030 if the plan succeeds? Experts forecast a continental energy boom supplying Africa and exporting globally, modern railways connecting major cities and trade hubs, digital economies powering millions of skilled jobs, industrial zones producing vehicles, electronics, pharmaceuticals, and batteries, a unified trading bloc finally leveraging Africa's collective strength. Africa's GDP could grow at 5.5% to 7% annually, outpacing Europe, China, and North America. Africa's $100 billion mega plan is more than infrastructure or economics. It is a declaration, a statement that Africa is no longer waiting to be shaped by the world, it is shaping its own future. A future of energy independence, a future of industrial power, a future of connected cities, a future where Africa is not defined by potential, but by achievement.